Thank you. We thought Andres should have the last word himself tonight. So we want to close the symposium with the reading of a few more of his poems. We've assembled a group of poets who will each read a poem he or she has chosen. You should have a list. You got it when you came in, I hope. And so we won't do any introductions. We'll just come up here one after another in alphabetical order and read the title and the poem. Oh, there's a small change. On your little card like this, the last two poets, James Tyner and Robert Vasquez, had separate emergencies today and can't be with us. So everything's going to be the same down to Emma Trask, and then David Campos will come up and he will be the final reader in tonight's reading. So the first reader is Francisco Aragon.
Song Fruit. Simple songs crawl from the day's mouth. The bird in mid-flight, the honey of a woman's breath, the taco vendor reciting Darío in a moment of passion. I am learning arias in my backyard. My dog, Kuma, is bewildered. And the day blushes happily from its split lip.
A few of the poems from Contemplations from Concrete, 9 movements. Number 1, Scar. I was born from concrete and sea salt. My hands are tree bark, and my mouth spews the stench of the sewer. You are so beautiful. I am afraid to speak about it. How will you love asphalt, cracks, and dust smiling up at you? 2, Fear. I don't know anything of love. I know about the bus schedule, how poems are written on the backs of seats like a law, accusing me of my own pathetic limp. I know how to stare a man in the eyes just to say, I'm ready for you, punk. Or how death looks lying on the street under a white sheet. I tried to love once, but ended up punching everybody. What can you do for me? See, even my questions come out wrong. Your breath is so sweet. Go away. 3, Voice. Come, lie with me. The gunshots will still be there after you have learned the lesson of my kiss. Rest with me. Here on the floor, I am singing to you. Isn't it more beautiful than the thrown rod of a Chevy stumbling lost through the neighborhood? Come, let me pronounce your name. 4, Tell me. You know me too well. The map of my scars you have already charted. Tell me your name so I can whisper it, weeping with my eyes closed. Number 9, Prayer. You are hot. I can barely breathe. You smell good. Silence. It wounds me, this silence. Even the tears have been abandoned. And though I collect the salt from all the eyes, tasting them, filling each according to its purity of sadness, this too is forgotten. Forgotten. The dead girl's laugh on a Saturday afternoon, pierced and pondered by a stray bullet's incredible insight, forgotten. Renee, who loved the smell of his son's skin, remembering his folds of flesh in the holes of his nostrils, just before the cops came with their 357 smiles. And I keep waiting for the screams. Screams for the man mumbling, imagining himself embedded in the perfect life of a rose. Screams for the woman wailing in the back room of a dying apartment, her life living itself out of the bowl of a glass pipe. I keep waiting for the screams. Screams for the dead, the dying, the decayed. But there is only the mute moth eating away at everything. It wounds me, this silence. And though my words, like coins, are nothing, though I lose them and find them again, it is still true. This silence wounds us all. You see, this is the silence of the dead man dancing, singing forth the crimes of the rich. But who hears you, dead man? Who listens to the truth falling muffled from your mouth? You see, this is the silence of Christ being blue and black on the scorching streets of the city, Christ mistaken for a gangster or thug or just another Mahalo moving in on the precious property of Providence. And everyone is washing their hands in the silence of these sins. There is not one innocent. No, not one.
Letter to Antonio Tomacek Aragon. Antonio, the night tonight with its sad anger hanging around like the dark clouds of madness reminds me of the drum beating from your heart into the mouths of the heavens. What am I to say? Leonard Piater sits under the same moon as us tonight, shadow sticks stripping his face. Injustice sweeps into the sad breath of everything. A Maya warrior dies in the streets of Fresno, never realizing who he was, and the White House remains the White House. My muscles have left me. You already know this, and yet I still want to fight. I am in love with justice, though sometimes my foot slips on the rocks. I am in love with humanity, though sometimes I punch myself in the face. What will all this come to? Today, across from the house of my mother, I saw 4 boys surround another boy. I just sat and watched 4 boys surrounding another boy. At first I thought, this must be child's play, but they acted as men. Men and crazy and in love with power, they acted like cops. What spirit is this? What Lakota haunts these streets winding down from conquest? What was it that paralyzed me to my seat? Fear, cowardice, curiosity sick in the solitude of my heart? Or was it despair? So much to do and nowhere to start. This must be where dying begins. Tonight I want to hear the drum beating from your heart. I tell you it is Christ who has put it there. Does this offend you? I keep praying that the warriors will rise from the earth like corn strong on the stalk. I keep praying for sanity. Oh God, have mercy. I get angry, Cornell. I hate what has happened. I used to hate because my mother couldn't pay the bills, because poverty became the only treasure she ever owned. But now I hate it, that we all feel helpless to do anything about it. Our leaders have become clowns who frown at any talk of fighting their whores. God have mercy on them. I want to hear the drum beating of your hearts because it reminds me not everyone hates justice, not everyone hates truth, not everyone hates love. Your Carnell Andres.
Lorena's whisper. For Lorena, who died on the 99, that drunk man hitting her head on, wrapping both behind their wheels. When I listen hard, I can almost hear the vines of birds or just the leaves whispering your name lightly on their tips, almost laughing as if they're trying to speak to me, trying to remind me of that summer when wasps surprised you while picking, and you looking as if you were crawling into the earth, curled up like a baby who's never been born. You almost died that day, and it scared your father the way you swelled up. He decided the fields were no good for you. You'd be educated. I'd see you in the summer with your books, your nice smelling clothes, your father working extra jobs. I knew you begged him to let you work, ashamed of seeing him slowly fail, his body bent from the fields. And when you ditched to defy the path he chose, he beat you until you returned. Still you hung with gringos from your class, the college ones, as if you grew up with them, as if their parents and yours knew the earth together. And did they understand your rough-stained hands? At school when you walked by us, and one would mumble, wannabe white girl, or bitch, or slut, you'd look at me, trying to ask me something. I'd turn away ashamed. I knew you were Mexicana, your father's language fresh daily in your mouth. I was angry the summer before. We were in a ditch, and your skirt sticking to your skin, and your small breasts showing through. I kissed you, smelling of sulfur and perfume, but you pulled away, saying it wasn't right for cousins to be this way. I was angry at your strength and the way you never told your father how I let them treat you, the way you talked to me at home. As if we were still kids, having dirt plot wars in the grape fields. I remember the college party, your senior year, the white one, your eyes ready to take it all in, and you returned with the eyes of your grandmother. I remember the night in the back of Popsy's bar, drinking Bisto, talking how they pulled a train on you, each taking his turn with your brown flesh, how Fat Louie said you deserved it, that it never would have happened if you had stuck with your own, that you were a puta anyways. And then my fist in his soft face, feeling his nose explode, him falling to the ground and me kicking him over and over, until Skeeter and Prax pulled me back, Fat Louie laying there senseless. How Skeeter and Prax came with me to Fresno's white side, in my 73 Montego, a tire iron in the back seat, images of you and white men in my eyes. At your grave, the yard surrounded by vines, the sun going down, the smell of grapes drying on the trays, sweet in the hot air, I sit, running my hands over the hot metal letters of your name.
Fresno night. A jazz trumpet finds the lips of someone unsuspecting, and the stars find huge caves of light to hide in. I am left with the quiet power of the heat and a horn echoing off the cages of concrete and cars and the cold metal madness of this city. Off in the distance, perhaps on Tulare Avenue, the cop's corrupt hand is finding its way around the neck of a boy suspected of being illegal. And in the park, Radio Park, lovers laugh at the imagined future of their unnamed children, at the stories they'll tell as grandparents, still savoring the breath of each other's skin. In this city, I sit waiting for the end of the world. The neighbors of Noah are everywhere, and a strange sky has come staggering in. I am not holy or noble or righteous, but I still, from my crippled mouth, call, Christ, Christ, let your blood bathe me and not night nasty's glare. Let love's power bind peace around the neck of my soul, and I will stand confident, clinging to the cross when the storm scream comes, stinging at the heels of your saints. Oh Lord, have mercy. I am not unusual, you see. I am in love with a girl from the sea who sleeps with her head in the valley. I cry and laugh and live in the dust of the earth. I am born, bought with blood into the spirit, but still this flesh is of clay, of dust, of death. But hope holds my heart, the Word made flesh, laid down and picked up again to the right hand of glory. Here in this city I sit, the trumpet's trembling song, fading away like an adulterous man, and I am left with car horns and gunshots and shouts and smells of grapes just about to rot on the vine. Surrounded by wasps whispering lies and mothers weeping for children brainwashed with insanity. And I am determined to know nothing but Christ and Him crucified.
3,000 lost kisses. The night swoons to the hip-hop of gunshots and stars. A young woman's teeth challenge everything about sorrow's suitcase of explanations, and I am learning to hope, like a bird learns its first affair with wind and sun, like an orange learns to take flight into the mouth of a boy in summer. The trees are prophesying. The mountains are waiting for the long trek to the sea, and the sea waits like a lover, anticipating the kiss of 3,000 lost kisses. The night swoons, and the trees begin their blue-black dance in the wind.
The night always scared you, ever since they shot Ephraim in the face, leaving him to bleed to death on that long dirt road between the peach orchard and grape field. You wanted someone to hold you. That night you heard someone to protect you, but when your mother came, it didn't stop the sky from warning you. Your turn was coming. You were 8 then, and at 13, you pretended to be the friend of death. You boxed your cousins who never pulled their punches when making you a man. They told you to always scar your enemy on the face, a deep gash down the cheek, because this was a sign for everyone of your lookout, and you believed them. They were alive in the streets that wanted them dead. So that night in 1981, when you walked alone through the flats, midnight, a knife in your pocket, and nunchucks caressing the forearm hidden in your jacket, you pretended to be a man. But the wind whined and the bushes blew. The shadows became the demons that always wanted to eat you. You didn't cry. No, not then, but your heart was ready to break. And your eyes flicked around, and a thin line of sweat gathered at your upper lip's edge. You forced yourself to walk slower, a mean strut to deny the darkness that was ready to leap on you. You were ready for the boys who beat your brother dead. There was the sound of the road and the cars grumbling along. A dog kept barking on one of the lonely streets, but all you remember is breathing like an animal. as the ground before you came up under your feet as if the world was spinning in slow motion beneath you. The front of your house seemed haunted in a fog that was only in your mind. The car was there, crippled and green on the curb. The skin of the garage was peeling, and the porch light had been stolen, leaving the grass black like a square hole. Were you afraid of being swallowed? You went inside and watched TV alone. Your mother waited for the alarm. Your sister breathing deeply, and your brother already gone. You went inside and watched TV alone, as if nothing was happening, as if all this was natural.
Landscapes of Sadness, a letter to the artist from his son. For my father, who taught me justice, is always worth fighting and dying for. 1. Here, where first I felt the sting of the wasp's whisper in these fallow fields, where wind whips dust into moaning visions of the earth's ancient murder by the first couple seeking God's demise, here there is sadness. This is perhaps Fowler or Del Rey or Parlier, it doesn't matter. The story and the sadness are the same in these towns found clinging to the 99's long leg. This is the story you already know. A boy named Cesar found now only in the fading photos of his mother's scrapbook, in the memories conjured by a moonless night's glare. He used to come with his left eye leaning into the sickness that threatened us all, and his right eye lazy, limping far behind his gaze. He used to come with his bat and his glove, calling out the names of ballpark heroes, Garvey, Say, Valenzuela, as if at any moment they would move from the shadows and shout along with his voice. He used to come shouting his poetry, Garvey, Say, Valenzuela, Garvey, Say, Valenzuela, over and over again, until we all heeded his piper's call and came with our gloves to the makeshift diamond behind the 4th Street Church. But these memories, like photos, fade. And now I know only that he died, murdered slowly like the earth before him, cancer creeping through his bones' marrows. I know only that he was executed 1 year in the Great Fields gas chamber. 2. I came here looking for you, an image, a ghost, something I could crawl into and imitate. I came searching the streets of cities and the long, lonely roads of the country, but I found only sadness breathing itself from the trees, calling up from the canal's cold water, seeping into your daughter's heart, horrified as she held Cesar's balding head held low. Does she understand it all? Does she know the farmers knew of the poison's power to slowly plow a life under, that death and decay would follow as they added field unto field until they alone lived wealthy in the land? Does she know, like Adam and Eve, under the trees the killers hid from the face of God, under their tangled vines of money, sewing together grape leaves to mask their naked aggression, grape leaves of legislation to convince their consciences that it was merely satanic songs sung by a little man in his leftist movement, instead of Christ calling, "Where are you? What have you done?" 3. I came searching for you, but found only your sadness brushing up against the canvas of my life. Sadness carving creases into your hands and face when, as a child, you turned trays, your back battling the sun beating down like a board. I too found this valley heat harsh, sunstroke striking me into a haze so clear I never wanted to understand anything again. But I kept coming up against it, this life, and somehow I could smell you, You had been there before me, cutting, forging a way through the rows of field dust and the same concrete reality that comes presenting itself again and again and again. This is what I found. 4. I want to tell you the anguished truth of sorrow demands from us courage. You taught me that. I want to tell you I believe in consequences for all this. I believe in judgment. I believe glory will come on the clouds and the mourners, the murdered, the earth, the groans coming from the womb of grief will all be born again into joy, born again into life. I want to tell you, Father, I believe in the resurrection. Thank you.
So in our family, if you tell someone you're acting just like Andres right now, it's not a good thing. And that's carried on to the next generation. And the one we say it to the most is my nephew, Emiliano. He's gonna read Starstruck.
Yeah, I always got, and it was never, oh, you're just like Andres. It was, no, you're just like Andres. That's how I got those. So this is Starstruck. Sometimes these walls ask me, were you never happy, loved boy? I would step out into the night, into the alley where the ants savored the crushed anguish of a peach. And the road was nothing but dirt with worn tracks of tires, 2 arms reaching to the place I always wanted to go, but never knew how to get to. The night, to me, always smelled sweet with grapes and stung the back of my nose with ditch water breath and dust. From my house at the edge of town, across from the high school football field, across from the dying field of vines, I walked into the darkness. It was here that I learned to love as the sky opened like a huge howl of lights and the sounds of frogs and crickets and birds baptized my ears into hearing. I would walk through the rows of fruit, my feet always hesitating, content with the despair of the dying city of progress, of my feet sinking into dirt clods and sand seeping into my shoes, into my socks, as if in conspiracy with the potholes of my street or with the cracked walls of my room. But my heart dragged us on into the bank of the ditch that oversaw the drowning of an old dining room chair, where the rim of a wheel jutted defiantly out from the wall of mud and stone, and the abandoned trash of grape wood and kitchen bags become homes to blue-bellied lizards and widows. There I would sit, pulling tobacco from my pocket, putting pinches of sweet leaf into my mouth, watering, and I would lay back in the weeds while the water rolled by, my feet caressing the cool kiss of the ditch. And there I would breathe, really breathe deep, as if sucking the stars into my chest, as if I was taking life forever into my soul. There I would sit and sometimes weep, not because I was a boy so alone, but because in the blue-black bruise of my life, in the middle of steel and fruit ready to rot, I could find the cold love of earth beneath my back and God smiling, making promises from the sky. Thank you.
Oración. I do not want to lose your mouth, open and wet like a yellow leaf. Here, my eyes are for you. Carry them like seeds in your pocket. I walk, but I do not always understand the rhythm of street signs. Fill me with your breath, a kiss that teaches song to the little boy on the curb.
The ice worker speaks of endings. The moon has turned into an accusing street lamp, And I keep hearing the loud breath of helicopters and the incessant cough of guns going off everywhere. Pow! 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 As if silence had been taken hostage somewhere to the north. Silence and peace tied up and gagged in a pantry filled with rich man's food. Don't ask me to prove things to you. There's no time. Don't ask me to paint pretty pictures or draw diagrams explaining to you how we got here. Just breathe. You'll smell the truth. Feel the flesh of rage, rotting, coughing, and dying. And there's nothing you can do to stop this apocalyptic ball of wax from unraveling. Nothing. I keep sitting here thinking sometimes of the woman I wanted to love, the land I wanted to retrieve. I'm sitting here under the cool moon's glare reciting Bible verses to the tree in front of my house, to the Bermuda grass, to the sidewalk and street and wires that crisscross this neighborhood. You see, I'm waiting for the end of the world. And the earth is full of violence, and the hand of God is calling, cover yourself, cover yourself. I love you so much, cover. But there are only cars and trees and the touch of a lover for a minute. There are only wires and grass, and now, here and now, the clouds are